know that your parents will psychologically test you. You think they don't understand? Man, they were changing your diapers. They understand you. They know what you're all about. They've sized you up. They have. Don't underestimate them. They don't get it. They don't understand my concerns about Islam. They do, please. They do. Relax. Learn to first develop the family relations. If you are studying the deen and you're destroying family relations at the same time, your priorities are somewhere they shouldn't be. You need to fix family ties. This is a fundamental of our religion. It's a fundamental premise of our deen. And now let me tell you the last thing I want to share with you about my rant, about how there's this dichotomy. You don't have to raise your hands. I'm going to stereotype all of you anyway. I've already stereotyped you as the weirdos in your families. Why would Allah put you in that family anyway? Why wouldn't He put you like in Abu Hanifa's family or like Imam Shafi'i's lineage where all your uncles are hufad of Quran and muhaddithun? Why do you have a sister that's so nasty? Why do you have a brother that's, oh my God, I don't believe this guy? Why do you have cousins that are just completely on a different planet? If they were not family, you would have never met them. You would never even want to look at them. They're so different from you. And that's, to me, this is my deviant understanding, is exactly the point. Allah Azza wa Jal made us family with people so we could become Islam's ambassadors to them because nobody else was going to reach to them. Who was going to reach to them? We were. When I'm giving a speech to you guys, you're actually here to listen to me. Let me try giving the speech to my cousin. Let me try giving it to my uncle. Let me try giving it to my mother. How's it going to go? Acha boy. That's in Urdu. Or be quiet. Right? Get out of here. It's just you. Sheikh Yasir, his parents came, and I was really honored. He came and he told me that you came to see me. I was like, he didn't come to see you. He goes, it's just me. Right? Family is family. It's just family. So you will get overlooked. You may have a lot of respect. You're running the halaqah. You're the MSA president. You're the khatib. You're this, you're that. You're the qabila, the emir of the qabila. You're the guy that went to Ilm Summit from the community, but you're nothing in the family. You're nothing. Get used to that. Make da'i as a nothing. Make da'wah as a nothing, rather. Learn to take the hits. Learn to take the insults and live with them. Pull people out slowly. Change their behavior towards you. Be the best to your family, and that is the da'wah of Islam. They don't need your speech. They don't need the notes from this class. They don't need the notes from the entire summit. Your family doesn't care for them. They don't. You know what they need? They need you to go home without asking. You vacuum the house for your parents. You do the groceries. You buy your mom some flowers. You do stuff without even asking. Your dad always wants you to get better grades. You focus on that one class to show your daddy you got those better grades. Not for the grades, but for your father, because making your father happy will serve your deen in the end. Think long term. Think long term. Start thinking about the relationship with your family. I've noticed too often, young Muslims that are serious about religious learning are overlooking family obligations. They're overlooking family obligations. And this is the bigger problem. And the second tier problem is that they're becoming self-righteous without realizing it. What does that mean? They see other Muslims that are in the rut. They see other Muslims that are in the haram. And they assume somehow that they are what? They're better, or at least they're not doing that. Astaghfirullah, I wouldn't associate with those people. Where were you 2 years ago? Were you not there? Who pulled you out, right? Who pulled you out? Allah Azza wa Jal mentions this in the Quran. The ayat of the journey of this ummah. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu attaqullah haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Taqwa was the first thing. You developed taqwa inside you that brought you to this concern about not dying unless you are what? Unless you're Muslim. And then what held you on to this taqwa was the next step. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. But then when you hold on to this rope, which is the book of Allah, what is the next instruction? وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Don't divide among yourself. What did we make as an easy observation about religious youth? What happens when they get religious immediately? Division is the first thing that's associated with them. لَا تَفَرَّقُوا. وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ. You know what should be the public discourse? Here's the ayah. Make mention of the favor of Allah upon you. Be positive. Make mention of the favor of Allah upon you. إِذْ كُنْتُمْ أَعْدَاءً فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ فَأَصْبَحْتُمْ بِنِعْمَتِهِ إِخْوَانًا وَكُنْتُمْ وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَا حُفْرَةٍ مِّنَ النَّارِ. You all were at the very edge of hell. That's where you were. فَأَنْقَذَكُم مِّنْهَا. Then He rescued you from it. Allah rescued you. So Allah is the one who rescued you. So instead of looking down upon the next, find a way to rescue them. Last story I'll give you, and I'm done, inshallah ta'ala. One of my heroes in the country as far as da'wah is concerned, and real genuine concern, we should learn something from this brother, his brother Eddie from the Deen Show. He says corny things sometimes, and that's part of his deal, It's all good though. But if you hang out with this guy, he is a da'wah machine. This guy is incredible. He is absolutely incredible. He doesn't see, oh man, what's this guy going to think? What's that guy going to think? I'm going to talk to them about Islam. He will talk to everyone. I mean, I was walking around, just walking down the street with him, and there's this guy in a wheelchair, and we're just waiting, just standing there waiting to cross the street. He turns over, man, don't you think we should just worship one God? And the guy's like, yeah, of course. And he goes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. People just worry about themselves. They don't worry about the one who created them. Don't you think so? He goes, yeah, I do. And they just have a 5-minute conversation. And he says, here's my number. I want you to come over. By the way, this is Islam. This is when you really worship one God. Well, who of us would have the courage to just start a conversation? We're like, man, this guy's going to curse me out. He's going to stab me. If you're in New York, then, right? What else might happen? But subhanAllah, he doesn't see, what might happen. He sees that he has a message to deliver. Genuine concern. Genuinely concerned. His tenant, he's in a building, and his tenants are some of these guys that are they work out and stuff, and they do that jiu-jitsu stuff, right? That Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right? So there's non-Muslim guys, a lot of non-Muslim guys. A lot of them have become Muslim too. So this one guy, I was staying with him at the apartment, and this one guy, one of his tenants, he was about to go into his apartment, but his key got stuck. You know how sometimes your key gets stuck? Look, split second. He goes, hey, Mike, come here. I want to talk to you. Come inside. I got something for you. And he pulls him into the apartment where I'm staying. He says, you asked me, I told you about Islam that other day? He goes, yeah. Well, here's a guy you can ask everything you want. He put me on the spot. And, this guy, the guy I was talking to, apparently he wanted to be an MMA fighter. Chopped up like this. Literally tattoos everywhere. And he wants to know about Islam. Before passing judgment on who he is, just deliver the message. I know brothers that were skinheads. They got their tattoos in prison. They went to jail for killing black people, or allegedly killing them or something, or violating their rights, etc. In the most horrendous ways. And when they got released and took Islam, now he has an African American wife, 8 kids. Right? Subhanallah. Don't pass judgment. Don't pass judgment. Don't pass judgment. This is the number one problem we're having. Undermine that discourse. Make that discussion about the ideological clash, make it irrelevant. There are bigger fish to fry. We got bigger problems. There's a serious reality outside we have to face in our family, among the youth of the Muslims, and then talk about the Muslims at large. May Allah Azza wa Jal just give us a sense of perspective and concern for the rest of this ummah. May Allah Azza wa Jal teach us how to use our knowledge wisely and to deliver the words of advice and of nasiha in the place that is appropriate. May Allah Azza wa Jal put barakah in our words, because in the end our words don't change people, Allah changes people. So may Allah Azza wa Jal put barakah in our words and reward us for the efforts that we make to serve His deen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Allahu Akbar. Questions? Is this questions or something? Comments? Shoes throwing?
You had mentioned that Jummah is an institution for how we can reach the rest of you.
Yes, everybody.
But for our families, is there any institution that's in place that we can use to?
Yeah, for our families, the institution now has become YouTube. For the women in the house and stuff, they need to get hooked on some of this stuff that's available now. And some of it's really, really good. Some of it is really, really good. You have to start finding, there are some speakers that are academic, and there are other speakers that are just pure entertainment value. Right? And the student of knowledge says, I didn't learn anything from his speech. You didn't learn anything from your speech, but a lot of people started praying because they heard that speech. Right? So don't judge a speaker just based on how many hadith did he quote, how many ayat, etc., etc. It's also about how did they impact people psychologically, right? I'll give you an example. I went to the ICNA convention a couple of years ago, and I was listening to Imam Siraj. He's like a father figure to our community. May Allah preserve him and continue to give him shifa. He's giving a speech, and his speech sometimes goes everywhere. Everywhere. From like, once upon a time I had a dog, to like everywhere. And I was passing by a truck, all kinds of stories. And at the end of it, a serious student of knowledge will say, I don't know about that speech. But the guy next to me was like, man, I got to start praying. He didn't say a word about prayer. But it has that impact. It has that impact. So different people need different things. So since you know the temperament of your family members, you have to find the kinds of stuff that might appeal to them. And you have to be a little bit more creative in getting the message to them. Your favorite speakers are not going to be their favorite speakers, for example. Right? You have to use a little more creative means. The other thing that some masajid have done very successfully is they've made the masajid a place of halal social gatherings. So, and one of the things that attracted me to the community that I moved to is the families get together all the time. And so the masjid becomes the place to hang out, and slowly religion comes into play because you're at the masjid anyway. So now just, the women start networking with other women that are in touch with the deen, and it slowly starts reeling them in. Nothing happens overnight though. Nothing happens overnight. Yeah.
You mentioned something about, youth that are too zealous with their parents, and their parents are provoking them, and sometimes they snap.
Yeah.
And so after they snap, of course, the father-son relationship, mother-daughter relationship is somewhat ruined.
No, it's not.
Or there's that tension then.
Yeah, so you think there is.
When a child snaps at their parents, you think there's tension, right? Okay, go get slapped. Go massage their feet. Don't move until they kick you off. Okay? Beg them to forgive you. Kill your ego when it comes to your parents. Kill your ego.